Hey there, you know what? Just a second ago, maybe 5 minutes ago, I sent an email to all participants of the online course that I'm running right now. And after that, I did a quick check in on our forum to answer questions. Tomorrow, we have a live Zoom call together. So, those are three examples of keeping clients engaged and accountable throughout your course. I'm Michelle Leotta. I have been a certified health coach for over 13 years. Has it been 14 yet? No, 13 years. And I'm a mentor to my fellow health coaches and like minded wellness practitioners. In the last 12 years, right? So I was only in my business for 1 year when I started my first online course. The year was 2010. And since then, I've created and run all different kinds of online courses, more than I can even remember. If this is something you're interested in doing for yourself, I have a free get started guide to building your first online course. And you can grab it right now at healthcoachpower.com/online course. But here's something that you may not realize about creating a course. We think about putting together the material, we think about how we're going to sell the course, but it's not until you're doing it, you're really in it with people and you're going through the process that you will notice, as I did, that while some people will enroll in a course, they will listen to every word you say, they're going to take it seriously, they're going to complete it, and they're going to get great results. They're like the superstars. They're the A+ students of the bunch. That's awesome. But by and large, that's not what happens. By and large, people don't go through the course like that, at least not if left to their own devices. In fact, across the entire, so not just in the health and wellness space, but across the entire online course industry, the statistic is something like only 15%, 15, not 50, 15% of online courses are ever completed. Can you believe that? You can build a whole course and most people will never see the end of it. In fact, in my experience, a lot of people won't even get through that very first module if you aren't careful. So today, what I want to do is help you beat the odds and create a course that gets engagement and gets results for your clients. On one hand, you might think, because I used to think this way, I'd be like, well, they paid for the course, and if they complete it or they don't, that's them. Like, that's their business. It has nothing to do with me, which is kind of true. But on the other hand, it is far, far better for your practice to have clients get excellent results and become walking testimonials for you. They're just roaming the earth telling people about what a wonderful transformation they just had. And it was all due to your course. Also, as a practitioner, far, far more fulfilling that way. We don't want to just sell a product. If I wanted to sell a product, I would still work in advertising. That was my first career. I want to make sure I'm actually helping people, right? So we want people to get through the course, to do the thing, not just buy it and have it sit there. So today we're going to talk about 10 different ways that you can make that happen. These are 10 methods that I have tried and used through the years and have seen really nice results from. You don't have to use all 10. You could use one, you could use two, maybe your next course, you add a little bit more, see what works for you. But do know that you can use all 10 of these for maximum effect. Okay, you ready? We're going to start at the top. We're going to start the moment somebody enters their credit card number or however they're going to sign up for your online course. They're in, they've become a member, they've enrolled. Now what? You want something to happen. It can be very anticlimactic if they just made a big decision and they signed up and they're excited and then nothing. So this is where we think about an onboarding process. And at minimum, your onboarding process should include an email that they get. It's probably going to be an automatic email, but an email that they get very quickly after signing up that welcomes them to the course. And think about when you've made a purchase, particularly a larger purchase, but any purchase, you think, oh, did I really have to? Did I really, should I have done that? Sometimes there's like a buyer's remorse. So what I want you to do in that onboarding email, that confirmation, is to reiterate why they're there and why this is important and why this was a really great decision. You can keep doing that, by the way, throughout the course so that people remember the why behind why they signed up. So an email is a great way to go. Another piece that I find can be super helpful is having some sort of video walkthrough, especially if your course participants are maybe not used to the platform that you're using. If you are doing something special within your course that might require a little bit of a walkthrough. So here's an example. I've run courses where I use Google Docs instead of PDFs because I want people to be able to make a copy, have their own Google Doc that they can fill out and keep in a folder. And it works really nicely that way. Okay, fine. Well, guess what? Not everybody is really well versed in how to use Google Docs. I learned. So when somebody joins my course, we have a video that says, by the way, throughout this course, we utilize Google Docs. Here's how to use it. And we just do a quick screen capture video. Here's what you do. You go here, you click there, you save it like this, you make a folder like that. And that way, they know exactly what to do. And if at any point we have someone in the course that says, the Google Doc thing isn't working for me, we could just direct them to the video. But we do give that to them right off the bat. So they're welcome to the course. You want to point them to whatever materials they need right off the bat. Tell them how to log in. Tell them how to access whatever is available at the course right away. If it's a course that doesn't start for a couple weeks, consider having something there for them to get started with. Again, so that they keep that momentum up and that feel good energy. And they're not like, oh, yeah, I don't know why I signed up for that. Right? So have something there ready for them and have all the explanation that they need. So they're not stuck, they're not confused. Everything should be crystal clear. A great way to test this is not with you because you already know what's going on in the course. So sometimes it's already in our head. We don't see it like somebody else would. Go through the process with a friend or a family member just as a test run. Have them sign up. See if they know what to do once they've signed up. Do they have any questions? Just get some feedback about the onboarding process because that can really be a make or break moment for somebody's experience with you. Okay, so onboarding process was number one. Next, let's talk about the course itself. When I teach online courses to my health coaches, I talk about the transformation that our courses are intended to create. Why? We are not schools, universities. We're not here to just educate. We are here as practitioners to get someone from point A to point B in their health, in their life, right? So we want to take them on a journey. Therefore, the course that we create wouldn't just be a collection of lessons on various topics. It would be disjointed. There would be no reason for me to take the next step and take the next step. It's sort of like when you walk into a library, there's so many books. I guess I'll read that one. I guess I could read that one later. There's no set path for you. So you don't end up reading all the books in the library. That would be a lot of books. But with your course, you do want someone to go from point A to point B. We don't want them piecemealing. Oh, I'll just watch that one lesson, or oh, I'll just do that one thing. We want them to have the transformation. So design your course with that in mind. Here's an example. My very first online course back in 2010 was a detox. Instead of saying, okay, here's all the things that we're going to cut out of your diet. Here's what you're supposed to do. Okay, go. Instead, it was like, for the first few days, we are going to cut this food and this other thing. I eased them into the process. Like first we cut caffeine in half before completely eliminating it. If you're going to do something where you're going to be eliminating grains, like maybe first start by eliminating gluten. Let them know where you're headed and why, and that you've got their back. You're holding their hand, and this is going to be a process that you go through together. That's what I'm getting at here. It's a journey. It's not just like, here's what you're supposed to do. Good luck. Here's what the information is. I'm out. Not like that at all. We want to really step them through a process that makes sense and make sure they do it in the proper order. Now, when people start a course, again, they're usually pretty excited and they might even log in right away, or they want to get started right away, and that enthusiasm is there. This is why so many of our students are going to enroll, watch the very first video or do the very first thing, and then that's where they drop off. Now, not everybody, some people will drop off later on, but remember, only 15% tend to get to the end. There's a lot of drop off right in the beginning. Isn't that nuts? But if you think about it, and maybe this has even happened to you, you have some time that day and you get excited, you make the purchase, you're ready to go. And then life happens, and then you get busy, and then you forget, and then you get distracted. And those are all reasons why people may have jumped in right away and watched that first lesson, and that's all that ever happens. So, although that is unfortunate, let's use it to our advantage. What we know is everyone is most likely to pay attention to that very first lesson or that very first module. Therefore, it's better be good. Don't let it be boring, right? We want to jump right into the material and give a quick win. Here's an example. I ran a course for women who have low thyroid function. Now, I could start that course with a bit of an overview. What is a thyroid? It's a butterfly-shaped gland located. That could be lesson 1, but that's probably not that interesting to her. I mean, it's useful information, don't get me wrong, but it's the kind of thing where, she might have her arms crossed like this and tapping her foot like, okay. It's like when my kids go to school, back to school in September, usually for the first week or two, I'm like, oh, what'd you do? What'd you learn today? And they're like, nothing, we're not doing anything yet. It's just all that setup. Try to skip that as much as possible. Maybe it comes later, but when we know that we might only have them for one part of the course, this very first bit, let's give them a quick win. So for my thyroid course, I started with, here are the lab tests that you need. You probably have only had 1 or 2 of these. Call your doctor and request these today, because that's something simple that she can take action on right away. Plus, she can look at that and go, oh, no, I've never seen these before. I need all these labs. I've never been told this before. So she's getting this like aha moment, something actionable to do right off the bat. She's much more likely to come back and take the next step and want to do the next thing because she's seeing the value right away. Love it. Okay. So again, this process of designing the course, first, we're taking them on a journey. We want them to follow the path and complete the steps in a particular order. We want to make that first one a real winner so that we grab their attention. And along the way, keep the lessons short. Keep them digestible. Nobody wants to sit through a 90-minute video. It's a lot. I took a course like that once. It was I was getting more training in functional medicine. And so, it warranted these longer videos for sure. But even just psychologically, have you ever done this where, you start watching the video, then you got to put the kids to bed, and then you're going to watch a little bit more, but then you have to go do the laundry, whatever you're doing, or you come back 3 days later, you still haven't made it through one darn video. It just does something psychologically where you're like, I can't do this. And you're more likely to give up. Whereas if it was the same exact material and you watched the same number of minutes of video, but they were broken up and you were like, I finished that and I finished that and I finished that one too, it feels like you're getting somewhere. So I like shorter lessons for sure. Video editing becomes important here. Doesn't have to be super fancy video editing, but if you are using video, I want to encourage you to cut out long pauses, anywhere that you are perhaps repeating yourself. If you have the ability to cut let's say 40-minute video down to 20 minutes, that's a really wonderful thing. Sometimes when I'm watching my videos back, I realize, Oh yeah, I didn't have to say that whole part. There was no reason. Even though I thought I was gonna say this whole thing, I do, and I record it when I'm rewatching it. I can get rid of that, So really edit it down so they are as succinct as possible. I know inside, I run a course called Healthy Profit University's core curriculum. This is for health coaches who want to turn health coaching into a real salary. And all the lessons are under 30 minutes, except for maybe one. We try to keep them all under 30 minutes. Some are less than 10, because this way you can actually do it. And that's a good feeling. So keep that in mind when you're planning yours out. Better to have more lessons that are shorter than one that's very long. Now, along the way, when you're going through a course, we want active participants. Again, like we are helping someone achieve a transformation with our course. We're not teaching history. This isn't like a college course or it's just about like obtaining knowledge. We want it to be put into action. Therefore, whatever information we're putting out there, and of course, you don't have to be using video in your courses at all, but I'm just using that as an example for right now. You can have these great videos, but it's like, then what? So always include a specific action that you want your viewer to take, a task that you want them to complete, something that they know exactly what to do after they're watching or after they read or whatever the course material is. It's like, do this next. This is the homework. This is the step that you need to take in order to implement what you learned today. So an example of that would be the one I just shared with the thyroid labs, where I'm not just saying, here are a list of labs that you need, and here's what this one is for, and here's what that one is for. And I'm not just giving information. I'm like, take this list, call your doctor. I think we even gave them, a couple options for if your doctor won't run these labs, what to do, right? So they could really go through a list and, yep, did that. Yep, did that. Yep, did that. That is a beautiful thing. Now they are moving toward that transformation that they signed up for. Okay, so as someone goes through your course, they're going to have questions. They're going to have places where they get stuck. They're going to have things that they don't understand. Has this happened to you? You ever done a course and you're like, this doesn't make sense? I'm thinking of a course that I took, and it was not an inexpensive course. And although it had a lot of really great stuff in there, there was this one really important piece that was missing for me. I'm like, I literally cannot do the thing I want to do because of this course, because I'm not understanding this one part. I don't know what to do with this. And there was nobody to ask. There was nothing. This was a terrible place to be. It was like the whole course just could have been a huge waste for me, because I couldn't use the material without getting this question answered. So I think it is 1000% important that there's somewhere for our course participants to go for support. Not just with their billing questions or, oh, I can't remember how to log in and that kind of stuff, but questions around the course material itself. So think messaging. Can they message you? Can they ask their questions to you directly? Can they email you? Can they use an online forum where not only can they reach you, but they can reach a group of peers who have also gone through the group and maybe other admin. By the way, all of these do not have to be admin by you. They could be emailing an assistant or somebody. But again, they need to be emailing someone who knows about the course material itself. So if it's my thyroid course, I can't have them email my assistant who handles, my website and my, all the stuff in my business, but doesn't actually know anything about thyroid health. It really does need to go through me or somebody else who has that skill set and knowledge base. So is there an online forum? Are there live calls? Where can you provide support? And this is where you can add so much value to your course, because if it's like, oh, my online course has 10 modules, my online course has 5 modules, my online course has 20 modules, that doesn't change the value of a course. It really doesn't. how, oh, I have video, or I have, all the features. It doesn't really matter. But the level of support makes a huge difference in the perceived value of the course, in the actual value of the course, and how likely people are to succeed, and therefore in how you can price your course. So I like to have as many avenues for support available as possible to all of my course participants. I never want anyone to be in that situation where they're like, I have a question and I have literally no one to ask. In that, course, which shall remain nameless, I took my question, I found the general support email address for the business, that I had purchased through, and I sent my question, and I got a response back, I kid you not, a month later. And this is from a big online course, business. I mean, they do a lot of this. It wasn't their first. A month later, and it wasn't even really an answer to my question. Very disappointing. So we need to support our students every step of the way, or else they will quit on us. They will be telling stories like this. We don't want that. We want them to feel fully supported along the way. Okay, I made my point. Let's move on. I mentioned live calls a minute ago as a form of how you can provide support in your online course. And I want to just say a little bit more about this, because having some kind of live component to a course, whether it's a fixed date course or it's an evergreen course, either way, it makes a huge difference, right? Like there's just a different energy when someone is watching a pre-recorded video or audio, edited, it's all polished and nice, versus when they're live with you. And they can ask their question, they can get feedback, you can have a laugh together, right? Like it's just such a more human experience. And I think that in a world where everything is behind a screen, it is easy for people to just fall off the course. Just, I forgot. Oh, I never went back to that lesson. Oh, well, right? And they're that large majority that never will complete your online course. But if they have actually interacted with you, talk about accountability. Like they know you now, you know them. That's a much stronger tie. So I want to encourage you that even with your evergreen courses, consider some type of live component. These could be group calls. These could be bonus one-on-one sessions. That's a nice way to bundle course, by the way. You have your online course and you bundle it with, say, 3 one-on-one sessions and sell it as a package. So I mentioned earlier my Healthy Profit University's core curriculum. For years, I used to do a monthly group call. So even though it's an evergreen style course, people signing up all the time, they're all in different places, I would show up once a month for sort of an office hours style Q&A. Now I do it weekly and I love it. I love it. We get this engaged group every week. The conversation's always different. I never quite know what we're going to cover, but I show up and meet them where they're at every single week. And also if somebody has a question, yes, they can, post it inside of our online forum, but I can also say, hey, bring this to the meeting on Thursday. And it feels like real life. It doesn't feel like we're all living in a box on a screen. So I'm a big fan of live components. To keep that engagement. It makes a big difference in the relationship that you build. Similarly, let's talk about communication as a whole. Some people are email people, probably just even in your life. Some people are email people, you email them. Other people are text people. Other people are phone people. I don't understand those people, but some people are phone people still. So anyway, similarly in your online course, it helps to have lots of different touch points with your students because they're going to use some of them more than others. Each person's going to have a different way that they like to communicate. So one mainstay that I would recommend is having a weekly email go out to all of your members. Again, this goes for fixed date courses and evergreen courses. If it's a fixed date course, obviously you'd be saying something like this week we're covering this topic. Here's where, you might be getting stuck. If you need help, here's where you can reach out, etc. But even in an evergreen course where they might be moving on their own timeline, they aren't necessarily on module 2 in week 2, but you can make an educated guess about where they might be each week. And you can send emails that are related to that. You can also send emails that are simply more inspirational, simply more, I see you, I know what your struggle is, remind them why they signed up in the first place, why this is a good decision, why this is important for them in their lives, right? Just like we did in the beginning when they enrolled. So a weekly email is like a touch point, just a regular touch point that can make a big difference. Also think about using whatever type of online forum or messaging that you're doing. You can post daily, if it's a shorter, like when I was running groups that were 14 days or 21 days, I would certainly have a message going out every day and an email every day for those short courses. For the courses that are 8 weeks long, 12 weeks long, maybe it's once a week, but an email goes out, and also you can post something into, or message something that can be topic specific. This week we're talking about whatever, open up a little post about that, or have a question about the topic for the week. But you could also post something about the time of year, something that's going on in the world and how that relates, a random recipe that you came across, something. Sometimes I always joke, if you want to get people talking and engaging, give them chocolate. So that's my tip to you. When all else fails, a chocolate recipe will get people talking. Because we want people to know that we're real people. We are actual practitioners. We're not fake, heads on a screen. So it's really helpful to have an ongoing conversation with them and this continuous communication across as many channels as possible. That will keep your engagement up for sure and make them more likely to come to you with a question or a concern or whatever it is, to say, oh, I feel really stupid because I'm really behind. That happens all the time. I'm so behind, and they feel guilty and they're ashamed when really almost everybody's in the exact same boat. But if they feel comfortable with you because you've been communicating with them, they're more likely to say something, get the reassurance they need. You can point them in the right direction. It's going to make for a better experience overall. So remember how I just said that people like to communicate in different ways? People also learn in different ways. And I mean, I think this is common knowledge these days. Like, some people are more visual learners and some people are more, they need to hear it. I know whenever I'm in an online course, I have a notebook, like a paper notebook, and I take notes. Like with a pen, nothing electronic about it. Something about writing helps me learn. So people learn in different ways. Your course may or may not have, video, audio, but try to give your information in several different medium. For example, you might have a video, and then you can get a transcript of the video. So that's also available for those who would prefer to read. Now, you visual people are like, that's ridiculous. I never look at transcripts. Other people swear by them. When I do online courses, I like to download all the transcripts, compile them into one PDF. And that way, if I'm trying to remember about a particular topic, I can run a search in the PDF and find the word that I'm looking for, or the phrase, and I can find it like that. Much easier than waiting through all the videos looking for that one thing that I'm trying to remember, So it's a good idea to have things available several different ways, have your same information being delivered in different formats. You can have worksheets to reinforce what they're learning, to help them implement. You might have graphs or a chart, or, again, some sort of visual that helps them learn. I also want you to think about accessibility. This is something that it wasn't even on my radar when I started running online courses. But one day I had a client enrolled in my course, and she reached out. She said, I'm hearing impaired. Do you have closed captioning and transcripts on the videos? And I was like, I was just mortified because I had literally never thought of this before. got that taken care of right away. It's very easy to get transcripts made. You just run them through, you run your videos through a service like rev.com. So we got the transcripts, we got the closed captioning. Because think about it, how on earth can somebody be engaged if they can't hear your videos, or if they can't see, or they're having trouble reading your PDFs? So I find that if I'm starting in a video format, then it's very easy to create the transcript and have the written format as well. In addition to some worksheets, some type of visual. Now we're more likely to be reaching everyone in the way that they need to be reached so that they can learn and they can make the progress that we want them to make. And then the last thing that I want to talk about, you'll have to think about this and see what makes sense for you and for your course. But there is absolutely nothing wrong with dangling a carrot at the end of your course, or even at the midpoint or a couple points throughout your course. Like, if you have done A, B, and C, you get this, but you don't get this until you reach that point. Do you know what I mean? You can dangle carrots throughout. So an example, something that we do with our core curriculum that I had mentioned, at the end, we offer practitioners a mini course on affiliate marketing. This makes sense because you can't start your business with affiliate marketing. Like, that's definitely not the first thing you're going to do anyway. So we lead our health coaches through the process of setting up their business and getting clients and building mailing lists and all that kind of stuff. And then if they get to the end, they've completed the course, that's the point at which it makes sense to take that next step and dip your toe into affiliate marketing. So that's when we offer it, but you have to get there. It acts as a dangling carrot over here, a reason to keep going to get to the end. So it's almost like it's not quite a game, although sometimes people will use the word gamify. If you can complete this, this, and this, if you can collect this many points, then you get this bonus thing. So that's another really smart strategy to think about how you can keep people moving through your whole course and stay excited the whole time. Whew, I think we did all 10. Did that feel doable? Did at least 2 or 3 of those sound doable for you? Again, you definitely don't have to implement all of these. You don't have to implement them all at once, but I don't think I was doing any of this in my earliest courses, or very little of it. And I was always surprised that even if it was a short course, like a 21-day course, that by day 12, there was already an awful lot of drop off. It's normal. It's not a bad thing. Doesn't mean you're a terrible person or a bad, practitioner, terrible course, none of that at all. But there are things that you can do to help with that very human. It's a very human thing for people to put it off, get distracted, procrastinate, not go back to the course. So it's our job as the course creator to keep them engaged. Thanks for listening. And if you would like to grab my free Get Started guide to building your first online course, remember you can grab it at helpcoachpower.com/online course. Take care.